of the various state elections scheduled in April, May this year, that's the one state where the Congress will hope, along with the DMK, they can come back to power. And that perhaps explains why Rahul Gandhi, the Congress leader, was in Madurai today, where he attended the bull taming sport Jallikattu. But it sparked off a political controversy because it was the Congress or the UPA-led government that had banned the bull taming sport when it was in power. Today, Rahul Gandhi hailed the Tamil culture, said it was his duty to protect Tamil culture, language and history. The BJP mocked the Congress MP, saying he sounded like a tourist on a Tamil Nadu trip. Meanwhile, interestingly, the BJP chief JP Nadda and the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat were also in Tamil Nadu to take part in Pongal celebrations. Clearly, the race is on for the Tamil vote. Take a look.
Today is Pongal, the biggest festival of Tamil Nadu. Just a few months for the assembly election, political leaders from the Delhi Darbar made a beeline to the Dravida heartland. If Congress MP Rahul Gandhi flew down to Madurai to watch Jallikattu, a traditional bull sport of the farmers, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat and BJP president JP Nadda attended party's Pongal celebrations in the state. In Temple Town, Madurai, Rahul Gandhi, whose party's hopes for future are pinned on Tamil Nadu, joined the Jallikattu celebrations along with Udayanidhi Stalin, the actor son of DMK chief MK Stalin. In the state that takes immense pride in its language, heritage and history, the Congress MP vowed to fight for the Tamil culture.
It is my duty to stand with the people of Tamil Nadu and protect their history, their culture and their language. So I have come here also to learn about your culture, about your feelings, about your history.
The BJP has hit out at Rahul, citing how it was Congress that banned Jallikattu while in power, forcing an agitation on Marina Beach.
My only hope and prayer is he understands the gravity of the Jallikattu, the sport, and probably he doesn't try and mislead the people of Tamil Nadu what his party has done. So before the elections, we normally see this kind of photo opportunities.
The BJP, fresh from a setback to its big plans for Tamil Nadu, with superstar Rajnikant refusing to join politics, also reached out to the Tamil voters.
Tamil Nadu has got that rich culture and the contribution which it has done to the people of the country. It is the world's oldest language, and the Tamil Nadu is proud of it, that the language and the grammar was developed here.
The two national parties, Congress and the BJP, are minor partners in the state of Tamil Nadu. They have been piggyback riding on the Dravidian parties. For the Congress, a victory in the state will mean that a revival of the party. And meanwhile, for the BJP, this will be the final frontier in their kitty. But unfortunately for the BJP, the tried and tested method of the Hindutva politics has not been successful in the state. With Gopi Krishnan in Madurai and Pramod Madhav in Chennai, this is Akshaya Nath for India Today.
Okay, let's raise some big questions. It appears that there is a rediscovery of Tamil Nadu taking place. But can Sashikala, who is now being pushed by the BJP, pose a challenge to the DMK? Are we seeing U-turn politics by every party in Tamil Nadu? Why is Tamil Nadu the BJP's elusive final frontier? Is Tamil Nadu the Congress's hope for revival in 2021? Just some of the questions we'll raise today. I'm joined by Jyoti Manish Senimalai. She is a Congress MP from Tamil Nadu. I'm joined by Tom Vadakan, the BJP spokesperson. We'll be joined by Manu Sundaram of the DMK. I'm joined by TM Veera Raghav, senior journalist. Appreciate all of you joining us. But let's come one by one. First, I want to ask you, Jyoti Manish Senimalai, because Rahul Gandhi has been making headlines today by going to Tamil Nadu to attend the Jallikattu event in Madurai, an event which, remember, almost a decade ago when the UPA was in power, Jairam Ramesh as Environment Minister made it very clear that the bull taming sport was seen to be cruelty to animals. and actually pushed for the banning of the sport. And today Rahul Gandhi calls it central to Tamil culture. So it appears things have changed, ma'am.
Rajdeep,
Yes.
when your opening remarks, you said Congress-led UPA government banned Jallikattu. That is the misinformation generally spread by national media against the Congress.
They banned the use of bulls. Let me correct myself. They banned the use of bulls in Jallikattu.
Despite that, till 2014, when Congress party was in the power, the Jallikattu, the bull taming was happening in Tamil Nadu. After 2014, when Congress party left power, it was banned by the Supreme Court. Then BJP government was not doing anything to stop it. When the Jallikattu protest happened in Tamil Nadu, it was Rahul Gandhi and Congress party stood by them firmly. That time BJP called the Jallikattu protesters, mostly actually millions of them are youth of Tamil Nadu who understand the Tamil culture, who deeply emotionally attached to Tamil culture. They call them terrorists, anti-national. So this is BJP which is against Tamil culture, which is trying to ban Jallikattu. After 6 years, they have done nothing to bring the bill into parliament to amend the Prevention of Cruelty of Animal Act. So this is not the Congress, this is the BJP against the Tamil culture.
No, one minute. I also, ma'am, the fact is, and I'll also play what Jairam Ramesh says and you can respond. The fact is that in your election manifesto also for the Tamil Nadu polls in 2016, you said the Congress supports the ban on Jallikattu. That's what you said in 2016.
No, we never said it.
It's there in your manifesto, ma'am. Okay, let me play what Jairam Ramesh said. You respond to that.
The Congress party in Tamil Nadu, that is the manifesto which is spread by BJP. I don't understand why you are picking the BJP ties and spreading in the national television. I was part of the committee 2016 Congress party manifesto in Tamil Nadu never said we ban Jallikattu. We are the people of Tamil Nadu. We understand the culture of Tamil Nadu. We deeply involved the emotional aspect of Tamil Nadu from Nehru to Rahul Gandhi ji. We actually stood by the Tamil culture.
Can I, ma'am, I appreciate your emotions. I will go by facts. Ma'am, I will go by facts. I will now play what Jairam Ramesh said. You listen to it, please, ma'am. Listen.
No,
you must listen it. You must listen, ma'am.
We imposed a ban on the use of animals like bulls, for play and for betting purposes. And Supreme Court upheld that order in 2014. And now, because elections are coming in Tamil Nadu, to please a few political leaders from southern part of the state, the Modi government has gone against the advice of its own Attorney General and has decided to allow this practice. It's a barbaric practice.
So you see, here is Jairam Ramesh calling it a barbaric practice a few years ago, and Rahul Gandhi says it's intrinsic to Tamil Nadu culture.
Individuals have different opinion. What our Congress party and leadership says, that is the party stand. You said 2016 Tamil Nadu manifesto support the banning of Jallikattu, which is lie. You have to withdraw the statement.
I have it here on my notes very clearly, ma'am. The Congress said in its election manifesto for Tamil Nadu, the party supports the ban on Jallikattu. It is only after the protest that you changed your stand.
No, we never said Tamil Nadu Congress Committee's manifesto. We never support the ban. I can send you the copy of our manifesto. We never ever did it. This is a lie spread by the BJP IT cell. Unfortunately, national TV is also doing the same.
Okay, we will go back to that manifesto and recheck it. But I will only go by, I will take what you are saying, that you are claiming that you did not at any stage support the ban. The local Tamil Nadu unit did not support the ban. Okay, that is as far as the Congress is concerned. Let me come for a moment to you, the BJP today. Because look at what has happened, Tom Vadakan. The BJP talks about how it's going to be tough on corruption. What have you done? You were today, your leadership was at a gathering where Mr. Gurumurthy, who is known to be close to the RSS and the BJP, makes an appeal for Sashikala to be involved in a broader NDA alliance. Sashikala, who was seen by many as the epitome of corruption in Tamil Nadu. Now that elections are coming, you want to bring Sashikala back into the fold? Is this your stand on corruption? Mr. Tom Vadakhan?
Rajdeep,
Yes.
as you said, this is you labeled it as breaking news.
Yes.
I will reserve my comment till I am in conference with my party before I make a comment on a news that has just broken on your television. As to the question of the opinion of Mr. Gurumurthy, he's a very senior person, and I would not dare make a comment on his comment. At this point, I would reserve my comments on that issue.
2 days ago, your senior leaders, local senior leaders also suggested that bringing Sashikala into the fold would be a good idea. I want to understand. The BJP stand on corruption seems one thing in Delhi, na khaunga na khane dunga in Delhi, but in Tamil Nadu, Sashikala, who was, according to many, was the epitome of corruption, as I said, you are happy to align with her, or you want to align, your local unit wants to align with her. What does it send? What is the message you are sending out?
Can I reverse that argument, Rajdeep?
Yes.
DMK leaders were accused of all sort of corruption. The INC, the Indian National Congress, which is now like a parasite hanging on, and they've got defeated everywhere when they've gone into a parasitic mode, eating on the horse, whether it is Bihar or whether it is UP. So these are political events, and that you mentioned the word
I'm asking
idea.
you. Why is it suddenly that the BJP before a Tamil Nadu, first you tried Rajnikant, it didn't work. Now we are talking about your party aligning with Sashikala.
Now I'm completing the circuit you started. You said it's an idea by a person in the BJP. It's an idea. There are many ideas that float. Let the party take a political decision, and then we can argue and pursue the matter on something that has not been mentioned by the party.
Why can't you categorically say that we will have nothing to do with someone who has been convicted for corruption? Why can't you say this clearly on national television? If your party has such a strong stand on corruption.
I'll tell you, my leaders are competent of taking decisions.
What is the decision to take? Why would you even consider, why would you even contemplate?
Spokesmen are not entitled to take policy decisions.
It's not a policy decision. I am asking you a simple question. I am asking you a matter of principle, sir. Why is the BJP keen on tying up with Sashikala? Why is the BJP keen on tying up with Sashikala?
It is a development that has happened. Give us time. Let the political leadership think, analyze it, and we will come at it.
What is to analyze someone who has been convicted and spent an extended period in jail? Why would the BJP think even of tying up with her? I thought you are pavitra like the Ganga Jal.
To handle it, Rajdeep. My leadership is competent to handle it. You just wait and watch and let the decision come, and then we can argue the matter.
Okay, let me bring in Manu Sundaram. Manu Sundaram, you're smiling away, but let's be very clear, Manu Sundaram. At the moment in Tamil Nadu, hamam mein sab nange hai, to use the word in Hindi. The fact is, corruption has, in a way, infected every political party. That's been the general sense of Tamil Nadu politics over the years now. I want to understand from you, Manu Sundaram, today when Rahul Gandhi comes to Tamil Nadu and says that, you know, he's happy to be part of Tamil Nadu culture, that he feels very happy to be part of this entire, I mean, is it just before elections that people remember Tamil Nadu culture and society?
No, to be fair, I think what you answered your question in a way. Rahul Gandhi's presence today, in a sense, is the response, according to me, of the Indian National Congress Party to all accusations about them being neglectful, ignorant, or against any aspect of the Tamil culture. Today, Mr. Sardesai, as you know, is one of the most important festivals in Tamil Nadu, that of Pongal. And Pongal in Tamil Nadu, and especially in the southern parts of the state, means one thing, which is Jallikattu. So the most important cultural event in the sense of the year has been attended by a senior Congress member, and there in itself, you know, we understand where the Congress stands today with regard to Jallikattu and Tamil culture.
Tamil Nadu culture, Dravidian culture is remembered only in election year.
No, I don't think that is fair. But then, we are all political parties. We often, almost on a daily basis, get this accusation that we are playing to the gallery or we only do something close to the elections. That is not the case. This is a 24/7, 365 days a year kind of a vocation and a passion. So I don't think that's completely fair. Tamils are self-respecting people. The Jallikattu is an intrinsic part of Tamil culture. They remember what happened in 2017. Anything before 2017 is immaterial because in January 2017, as your channel themselves reported, over 20 lakh young Tamils protested in the marina for almost 15 days. So that's where the assertion of Tamil culture really began. The problem today seems to be that the Congress, for the BJP rather, is that there is a Congress person who had come and attended, a senior Congress functionary. My question is therefore, why not a BJP functionary? We would have been happy as a Tamil, as a DMK member. I would have been happy to see all parties represented at such an important occasion. They perhaps do not have an answer to that, or perhaps their answer to that is that their own party president was in Chennai holding a public rally and then attending another event, a privately held event. Now, there are 364 days in the year to hold a public rally, Mr. Sardesai, but Pongal equals Jallikattu. And the fact that an emphatic cultural statement was made today, and as you know very well, politics is about perception. And the perception battle today, in my opinion, was won by those on the side of the DMK Congress by being part of the Jallikattu event.
Let me take that to Veera Raghav, senior journalist. Veera Raghav, have we seen simply the politics of perception and optics today? Rahul Gandhi attending a Jallikattu event in Madurai. On the other side, you've got the BJP leadership also in Chennai on Pongal day, talk of Shashikala joining hands possibly as part of a wider alliance. Is this all optics at the moment going on in Tamil Nadu? Suddenly the people of Tamil Nadu are being remembered almost in election year by national parties and national TV as well.
It's national TVs remember Tamil Nadu either when there is election or if Rajnikant makes a statement.
Or when there are floods in Chennai.
Absolutely, floods in Chennai. But Rajdeep, it's obviously optics. The Congress is a drag on the DMK and the BJP is a drag on the AIDMK. Frankly, that's the reality of Tamil Nadu. And you will realize the statement, though Manu Sundaram, my friend, is defending the Congress today, you will realize that when the seat sharing arrangements come out, the DMK is not going to be very charitable to the Congress. And they realize that the Congress is a bit of a spent force at many levels, but it's a larger ideological platform and they cannot afford to walk away from the Congress and hence they will go ahead with it. And the Congress is desperately clinging on to the DMK. On the other side, the BJP, the AIDMK after the demise of Jallikattu would have collapsed or disintegrated, it's my view, had it not been for the control of the BJP. And the BJP has architected it in a way that it works for it. The idea and the strategy behind the BJP seems to be to try to unify and make sure that all the AIDMK factions are together with all the pressure that they can put it and try and piggyback on the AIDMK and come up front. Questions about where the AIDMK is in terms of its identity and how much it's controlled by the BJP. So both sides, it's purely a game of optics. And having said that, in terms of Jallikattu and in terms of the issue, I don't think anyone has taken a very clear stand on it. And it's difficult for the Congress to justify its position just with one rally or in an election year. Just as it's very difficult for the BJP to declare itself or prove itself as a grassroots party in Tamil Nadu.
Jyoti Mani, why don't you answer this? Rahul Gandhi goes to Tamil Nadu. The BJP accuses him of being an accidental tourist in Tamil Nadu. Your organization is completely in terrible shape over these years. Why not? Shouldn't the focus be on building the organization 365 days, 24/7, rather than just a few months before the election, suddenly remembering the importance of Jallikattu and Tamil Nadu culture? Isn't that the way a political party should function, building an organization rather than relying on these optics?
No one can compare to a honorable PM when it comes to tourism. Better BJP not to talk about it. So Rajdeep, this is not the first time during election Rahul Gandhi has visited Tamil Nadu. When 2017, it was a cyclone hit southern district. Nobody has visited, including the Prime Minister. BJP government didn't care about the people who died. It was Rahul Gandhi actually who came and visited the people. Again, there was a shootout in Thoothukudi. There was 10 people, including the 10th class students, were shot dead. It's a state-sponsored violence, it's state-sponsored murder. Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu came on the television and said he do not have any idea about what happened. So I leave it to you who executed that state-sponsored murder. So then it was Rahul Gandhi who came out and condemned that brutal murder. Then it became a national issue. Then the news channels and other leaders took it up. Whenever there is an issue in Tamil Nadu, it is Rahul Gandhi who stand by Tamil people. He
The
is
fact though is you must acknowledge that your organization has weakened. The fact though is today that you will fight this election literally, the DMK is the party which controls the real bull of Tamil Nadu. You're going to do you're going to struggle. You're basically riding on the back of the DMK bull.
See, every party brings something to the table. That's how the alliance works. So Congress also brings something to the table. I agree with you, there isn't some organizational issue across the country. Every political party has an organizational issue. Just because of how BJP winning, and you tell me after 2014, which election, BJP won only on a people manifesto, positive, 2014 they said development is an issue. Tell me after 2014, when is the last time BJP and Mr. Narendra Modi talk about development? Actually, it's completely, economy is completely collapsed. Unemployment is 45 years high.
Ma'am, that may be true, but ma'am, you are entitled to say that, but they keep winning. The fact is that they've won more elections than they've lost.
With the peacocks. So
yes.
That is the stage of every party. It's actually Congress also has to do a lot of reforms that we will working on. We will aggressively working on. We are actually within the party. We are working building the grassroots organization. There is no doubt Congress has to build the grassroots organization. We are working on. But
okay, let me. I'm having a little problem with your audio.
Tamil Nadu needs a word. That was always Rahul Gandhi actually was stood by Tamil Nadu.
Okay, let me bring in Tom Vadakan. At the end of the day, while the Congress may have organizational problems in Tamil Nadu as they have in other parts of the country, at least they have a strong presence. The fact is the BJP has struggled in Tamil Nadu. You have struggled to break this image of being a Hindustan party when it comes to Tamil Nadu. Yes, you've done reasonably well in other parts of southern India. You've done very well in Karnataka. You made some breakthroughs in Kerala as well. But Tamil Nadu somehow has remained the bridge too far. It appears somehow or the other the people of Tamil Nadu remain suspicious of the Hindutva politics that the BJP is accused of playing over the years. Do you concede that this has been a bridge too far for the BJP? Dravidian culture has not been fully embraced by the BJP.
Rajdeep, while you are showing visuals of my party's president, you'll be surprised the kind of applicants who have applied to join the BJP. Today, there were leaders from the Congress party who have moved out. There's a long list. We are going through their dossiers. We are checking out. There is a rush into our party. How do you explain this? How do you explain the rush of workers, leaders wanting to join our party? If you still claim, I mean, I do accept that there are baby steps, but we are moving forward. There is that light on the end of the tunnel. Yes, we had a dark period, but now things have changed. Now look at this. Look at the somersault of that young former Congress president, Jallikattu, and his mentor, Jairam Ramesh. I was a spokesman then. I want to remind you, Rajdeep, and I remember that day when they all supported. We were tearing our hairs, imagining, look what will happen in Tamil Nadu, because they had no clue. If they want to know anything about Jallikattu, they need to go to the National Museum and have a look at the seals of Indus Valley civilization. There are seals at the National Museum. And this is not a civilization which is 7,000 years old and does not need the defense and the protection of the likes of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. The Tamilians are a proud citizenry of our country.
like you are accusing Jairam, you are accusing the Congress of a U-turn on Jallikattu. You also, of course, have made a U-turn of U-turns. You've gone also, with all due regard, from the Congress
But
to
I'm
the
putting
BJP.
it on record. I have the nerve to say that on record.
Sure. I'm glad that you're saying it on record that at one stage you were with the Congress on Jallikattu. Now you're with the.
denial about that, but I'm telling you what happened.
Okay. I'm glad you're
telling
saying that,
exactly what happened on Jallikattu.
Okay,
And 2016 manifesto, you're right. You're right about it. She's talking about the Chennai edition of their manifesto.
Can I bring in Manu Sundaram? Manu Sundaram, the fact is parties like the DMK, for you also this is seen as your last chance in a way. To, the AIDMK has won 2 elections in a row. You lose this one. And then the DMK finds itself in a situation where once again the party's survival will be under question. Do you accept, therefore, that this is also a make or break election for the DMK?
Well, I must point out, though, Mr. Sardesai, that it was said pretty much these similar words were used, or we heard similar words being spoken before the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. And to be fair, the DMK Congress did rather well. And that is when Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah swept across much of the rest of India. Before I point out a couple of other issues, let me also just maybe make a mild protest that I think you've been a little unfair. I think for every time you've played Mr. Jairam Ramesh's video, you must also go and play, if you can, Ms. Maneka Gandhi's video in 2017, where she also makes very uncharitable remarks about Jallikattu. And also the fact that, Mr. Rahul Gandhi today is a member of parliament from a constituency in Kerala. So you cannot sort of ascribe to him the kind of political expectations that you would of a minister or a prime minister or home minister of the country. And finally, the Congress, to be fair, won 9 parliamentary seats in 2019. So I don't think it's a fair assessment that they do not have much of a grassroots network here in Tamil Nadu. But
so
let me just make one other point, Mr. Sardesai.
How many seats will you give the Congress? Let's be honest. If you think the Congress is
as many as we both are happy to share and mutually agree to defeat the ADMK and rout out any remnants of the BJP in Tamil Nadu. But let me make just one other point. The Tamils, like I said, are self-respecting people. It is not only the Hindi Hindutva brand of politics that we are against. We are for federal autonomy. We are for greater federal rights. And therefore, that is why we are unhappy and we are sick of the policy flip-flopping of the ADMK. We are tired of taking orders, the Tamil Nadu government taking orders from its Delhi masters and having these policies made by remote control. Therefore, the DMK Congress, I believe, will put together a cogent alternative policy platform which will provide steady and stable governance to take Tamil Nadu out of the very tricky corona post-COVID-19 waters that we are in. Therefore, it doesn't matter the number of seats. I think we will emerge successfully because that's what we did almost a year and a half ago in 2019 as well.
Very quickly, Veera Raghav, to conclude, this will be the first election in Tamil Nadu in the post-Karunanidhi Jayalalitha age assembly election. Is that why this election is so significant in a way? It will be a pointer to the future of Tamil Nadu politics.
Oh, absolutely, Rajdeep. This is a make or break election for both parties. You see, Stalin won the 2019 election, but if he can't take the party through in 2021, I don't think he's going to have the power to hold on to the DMK. And as far as the AIDMK is concerned, there is going to be a severe churning within the party. There is going to be a crisis. There is going to be internal pressures post this election. If they don't win, which I think is unlikely from the way I see it at the moment, and they will have to do a complete revival. We don't know how the dynamics of this is going to change. And I think the future trajectory of Tamil Nadu politics is one where the BJP will be constantly banging at the doors. But at the moment, it seems like Tamil Nadu will remain the last state standing against Hindutva even after these elections.
Okay, let's leave it there. The last state standing against the politics of Hindutva is what you're suggesting. But the BJP is finding its own ways to make an entry into Tamil Nadu. Clearly, all roads led on Pongal day at least to Tamil Nadu. Thank you all very much for joining me on my Talking